Hey guys, so today I want to talk about weightlifting in particular, and we're going to look at sort of one fault that I see happen more often than not, and then how it looks when the movement's carried out with that fault. So we're going to look at that sort of stripper fault, and that stripper fault is when we see people come through either on the snatch or the clean, and from that sort of bottom position here, the hips shoot up first and they're right over the bar. And their legs are almost straight, and then from this position here, you see that sort of bounce off, and they swing the bar out and out, or they get to this point here, and then all they can do is kick, and the bar's going to come straight out. Okay. Now what that does is when you land forward, you'll see people try and jump forward on the bar, throw their head forward, and they'll be all sort of loose and disgusting the bottom because they won't be able to pull up nice and tight and come through. So what causes this fault? Okay, so it can be a combination of a few things. It can be a technique problem. It can be a matter of just the athlete has a problem of when they come through, they're not used to staying over that bar enough and sort of pushing the floor away with the legs. And I'm guilty of that myself as well. So I've had some issues where I've come through and I've lost confidence with myself. So as I've come through, I've got to this point here and I've extended from here and I've cut short, thrown my shoulders back behind the bar too soon, and kicked it out. The bars come out to about here rather than staying nice and close. So it can be a technical thing. What else can it be? Well, if we're seeing chronically that our hips are shifting higher, which means we're loading our hamstrings and our back so much more than we are our quads, probably means that our quads are a little bit weak as well. So we need to develop the strength in our quads through squats, pulls, and some deficit work too, and maybe some tempo work. So we can look at really good stuff where, say, we're in this position here and we're working on staying over that bar and pushing the floor away, keeping those shoulders over that bar and during that position. Another good way to do it is by doing some halting clean snatch deadlifts, some halting clean deadlifts or some halting snatch deadlifts, where we're sort of coming through in that position, pushing the floor away and finishing over the bar, so that we're not practicing getting back to this position here with our shoulders behind the bar. All right. So that's a really important one that we can do as well. Now, if you've gone through, you've built them up, you've done some halting clean deadlifts or some halting snatch deadlifts, and things are pretty good with lightweight, so they've got good control with lightweight and they can build it up quite well. But then when we go to heavier weight, things start to fall down and they start to revert back to that big stripper fault. Bum goes right in the air, and then our chest is looking towards the ground, then we've got to smack through, catapult it and try it underneath it. So how do we fix that with heavier load? So a really good drill that we can do for that is we can do complexes, and then as that complex gets more efficient, we can then move into strict exercises. Now we can choose exercises that are going to make the athlete move in a certain way. An example of that is if we do a very high hang movement. So if we come from our hip, we go through that dip and then bow, and we keep that bar in that mid-thigh position nice and tall and push, we can go from there. So we can go dip, bow, push into a high pull, all right? So that would just be a high hang, snatch high hang pull, or something like that. So just a snatch high hang pull, and that's going to really work on that end position. But that isn't always a problem. Okay, we need to be able to do it lower than that. So what I'd recommend doing for this real stripper fault is I look at doing some form of no feet movement, or a no feet hang or no feet clean, and have it from a hang into a power and then a hang into a full movement. So what I mean by that is when we look at the no feet movement, we're going to have our feet starting in our catch position. So for me, that's about there, just there. Okay, so feet wider than we pull from. I'm going to hinge back over into a strong hang position. My shoulders are over the bar, knees are back, shins are vertical. From there, I'm going to spin up and punch. So I'm going to come through again. What this movement will force is it will force the athlete to push the floor away, extend with their legs and pull the bar nice and close because they haven't got the capacity to move their feet. because their feet can't move, if they hit it out, they will immediately miss the lift because they can't chase and jump forward. So that's a really good one to use when we can build up weight with that gradually, and as they become more efficient and get nice and tall, finishing that extension, getting tall, pulling the bar nice and high, and then punching under, the more efficient they get at that, the heavier that load can be. Now we compare that with some pulls in a complex type, so we can go from a normal position, we can go snatch or clean pull, and really focusing on drilling that tall position and keeping the butt down, chest up. Now I'm not always the biggest fan of just saying chest up, because that will generally just do that and then we'll keep our knees forward. The cue I like to use a little bit better for an external cue for our chest up and keeping our hips down. Just point your logo towards the roof or towards the top part of the wall behind you. So we can drive up, actively pushing the floor away, keeping that chest up the whole time, rather than just cranking the chest back and backing up. So, the two big ones that I'd sort of promote for that super fault, we'll go 3 big drills that I promote for the super fault for both the snatch and the clean, whether it's in power or the full variant. Snatch pulls off a deficit as well, keeping that chest over, keeping a nice and upright chest. Snatch pulls, alright? Snatch high pulls, getting nice and tall, drilling that end position, pulling all the way through, and I'd start to load that to a super maximum weight, really reinforcing that position. And then from there, to transfer that across, I'd work on your your feet, no feet hang movements, whether it's into a hang power or a hang snatch. I'd then go into a full variant from the floor, not allowing the athlete to move their feet. They've got to extend and push the floor away as hard as they can, keeping that barbell as close as possible, because if it isn't close, it's going to jump out and they're going to miss it. Okay? So if you're having trouble with your snatch or your clean, you're really struggling to keep your chest upright or get that right position, try these exercises. If you know someone who's struggling, send it to them. Alright? If they're still struggling, or you're still struggling, what I want you to do is send me through a video of you lifting. I'll go through and I'll analyse it, and I'll give you a few exercises here and there, free of charge. Alright? We'll go from there, build that up, and then once you get better and better, then we'll see where you can go from there. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps you snatch and clean. Remember, super faults aren't necessarily a bad thing if you're at the strip club. If you're in the gym lifting, it's going to make you a bit less efficient, and it's going to probably end up you missing more lifts, and it could end up in injury as well.